And here we are at the reviewing area. And here we have the Transformers Classics Megatron on the reviewing area. And as you can see from, well, like y'all saw from the intro, he is a Nerf gun here. And like I said, that this is the last time we get to see Megatron as a gun mode until the Masterpiece MP36 Megatron came out and they brought him back as a gun. And also, like I already said, about the Studio Series version, they were going to make him, well, actually, about the Studio Series version of Megatron, that they made it as a tank instead of a gun mode, which I was expecting them to make him as a gun mode of the Studio Series version, but I can understand why that they cannot make him as a gun anymore, and just made him as a tank. Although I would like to see him along with other people, to see him as a tank or gun mode again, but they made him as a tank for the Studio Series version. But now that that's out of the way, let's now take a look at this figure here. So as you can see, Megatron turns into a Nerf gun mode. And this Nerf gun mode is supposed to be based on the Nerf and Strike Maverick Blaster. And I do think it still does look like a pretty good Nerf gun mode from the time it came out, because this is an almost 20-year-old figure, because this figure came out in 2006. So, almost 20 years old. but right now, it's not 19 years old. And and some people may have complaints about the color scheme here. You can see, I personally am okay with it. And that there is the Henkei and the United versions of this figure that has the more cartoon, Generation 1 cartoon accurate color scheme with the gray and the red, or silver, gray, and red color scheme, like in the cartoon from the 1980s. But this is the crazy colored one with purple, gray, or purple, gray, with bits of gold here, and yellow here and here. So I personally don't mind the color scheme on this figure like some people do, but but everyone has different opinions, different opinions of what they like and what they don't like about this figure. And taking a quick look here, like I said, it's all casted in purple, black, gray, and with some translucent green here. I'm guessing this is supposed to represent like the, you know, how Nerf guns have those little darts. I'm guessing this is how you can see through here the little darts of the Nerf guns. Or it might be you could see the mechanical work of a real Nerf gun. And it does have some, like I already showed you, some yellow on the barrel here and the sight here. And the other side is the exact same here. And has a nice purple Decepticon symbol here, and it's on both sides here. And here's the top view. Excuse me. Here's the top view. And the bottom here. Now, there are like many options where you can display this figure in gun mode. From what I've seen, some people display him. Some people display him like this, and some people like prop him up like this with a display stand. Or I have seen some people display him. Now, this is for the transformation. Yeah, this is for the transformation, but you can still do it if you want to. But if you want to, you can flip out this part and this part, which, like I already said, is for robot mode, but you can still work it as a display if you want to. But you would flip out this and this here and stand them up like this, so you can have like that kind of displayment going on. If you want to. So you have like multiple options of how you wanted to display your classics Megatron in its gun mode. And this sight here is see-through from here, which is translucent green, through here. And I'm gonna try my best to show y'all on camera. I'm not sure how well y'all can see it, but yeah, you can see through that sight there. And there is little crosshairs inside here of this sight here, but, well, actually, yeah, you could see that this cross shape here, the crosshair thing, that is where you would see through from the back here. But it is, oh, well, oh, there it is. You see that crosshair shape? Yeah, right there. Which is nice. And the trigger here is functional, and it does make a clicking sound. And that is it. There's not a whole lot to it. So I guess it's now time to transform him. So to start off the transformation, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take both of these side pieces here and untab them from this tab, and there are some clips from here and here on the inside of these gray things where these translucent pieces are. just like that. And then you're going to bring them down. And as you bring them down, you can already see a lot of robot parts just scattered all over the place, which I will explain why when we get to the full robot mode. Just like that. And as you can see, these clips is where these tabs tab into, and these green tabs here and here is where the holes from the side peg into. Here and here. And like I already said, once you untap these panels and flip them down, you already see a lot of robot mode parts just all over the place here. Which, again, I will explain why when we get to the full robot mode. But once these are untabbed, and you could see, once these are untabbed, you can already see a lot more of the translucent green on the inside here. But once these are untabbed, what I like to do is take the sight here and bring it out on these here, which do move. And it also moves on this joint and this joint as well. So bring it out like that. Now take this and bring it out on these joints here. And now you're going to take this section here and rotate it around. And then collapse it in until it tabs into place. Take this section here and bring it out until it tabs into place. And then for this, you're going to bring this up and tab it in. And these are going to form his arms. And this section here that was connected by this arm is going to be his chest. Show you from the other side here. Now for this here and this L shape here will form his legs. So for this leg, you're gonna bring it out like this, and this hole is where this knee pad, this gold knee pad here, fits into here. And for this leg, you're gonna extend it out like that. Now, for these two big panels, along with the trigger here, you're gonna bring it up about here, because you're going to take these giant panels and rotate it up so this peg is, or tab is facing up, because this tab is going to go into that yellow clip there. But before you tab it in, you need to take these giant panels and fold it down on this hinge joint here, and then tap it in. Then you just straighten down the legs, rotate his knees around, and straighten out the knees. And for the legs, you're going to take these purple things and slide them up like that. And from the bottom, you want to flip out, which I did show you from the gun mode, but since we're going into robot mode, these will form his feet. So you want to flip them out like this, like I showed y'all in the gun mode, for how you want to display him in gun mode. Now for the arms, for this arm, you want to rotate it around so the purple is facing forward. Bring down the elbow and rotate it so the joint is facing this way. Then you want to open up this panel to flip out his hands. And for this arm, you want to rotate it around. So again, the purple's facing forward. Straighten down the elbow and the arm itself. And open up the panel again and flip out the hand and close it up. And now you're going to take this sight here. Well, what was the sight of the gun is now going to be the fusion cannon. And you're going to bring it forward and straighten down the hand and close this panel all the way up. And this fusion cannon is going to snap into place. And y'all can kind of already see the problem. Oh, there we go. I got him to stand up. And finally, to reveal the head, you're going to take this purple thing with the Decepticon symbol, flip it down so you can flip up his head, and close this up. And you can see this, like, white tab here is going to go into that hole to help keep the head secured in place. So that way, if you're moving the head around, it's not going to fold back down. Like that. And there you have Classics Megatron in robot mode. Now, but before we talk about the robot mode, as y'all saw in the transformation, the transformation is kind of weird, but kind of in a good way. At least I think it is kind of weird, but kind of in a good way for me, because from what y'all saw in the transformation, it's basically like you take the robot and just move its limbs around in a crazy position and then cover it all up with two giant panels, which are these. Because this figure's transformation is what a lot of people like to call a shell former. And for those of you who don't know what shell forming is, it's basically you take the robot and move its parts around in a weird position and cover it all up with two giant panels. Now, some people think that shell forming is like the worst thing ever, and some people think it's the best thing ever. Like, some people think it's good and some people think it's bad when it comes to shell forming transformers. I have like mixed feelings with it. Like, if a shell forming transformer doesn't have a lot of panels that hinder like the articulation, then that would be good. But if it does hinder a lot of the articulations because of like two giant pieces of, like a lot of giant pieces of kibble because of the shell forming, then yeah, it's kind of bad. This figure's shell forming is not that bad. And yeah, those two giant panels you see behind him kind of look like he has wings on his back. But this figure's shell forming is not too bad, because I have seen worse, but this one is not that bad. This figure's shell forming is not that bad to me. And also, from what y'all saw me doing when I got the figure in robot mode, he kind of has a balancing issue where, like, yeah, you can kind of see there, he's kind of weeble wobbling a little bit. But thankfully he does have some heel support, which is nice and doesn't affect anything. But you just have to like get it positioned in the correct spot so he doesn't really fall over. And it's mainly, well, I think mainly it's because of these two things. And sometimes it might be the fusion cannon here. But you just need to work with it until you finally get him to stand correctly. And as for the robot mode itself, I pretty much do think it's a pretty good robot mode for its time. And I am kind of fine for the crazy colors here. It's not the worst crazy color scheme, but it's fine for what it is. From its time it came out to today's time. So I do think that the robot mode it is still good for what it is. And I know some people, or I think a lot of people have issues with the kibbleness. That looks like he has wings. I personally don't have an issue with it. Because, like I already said about the shell forming, this figure's shell forming it is not the worst. Because I have seen worse ones, but this one's not as bad when it comes to shell forming. Even though he does look like he has wings on his back. But it's not the worst. And getting a closer look at the head sculpt here. It is a very nicely done head sculpt here. Not a whole lot to it. Just has some silver and gray, or silver and black on it. And also some really nice light piping on the back of his head, which makes his green eyes glow. You can see there. And going down to the body, you have the nice painted and sculpted in Decepticon symbol here. Some gold on it. And his arms do have some nice gold paint on it, on the sides. And you do have some gold and white here on the waist. And going down to his legs, which we've already seen here. And you have some white on his feet. And here's the side view here. And the back here. And the other side. And all around, like I already said, all around for its time and for its time it came out, and in today's time, it still does look really good and cool to me. I know some people have issues with it. I personally think it's good for what it is. And for articulation, head is on a ball joint. Arms can rotate all the way around on a nice ratchet, and you can move these wings out of the way so his arms can rotate all the way around. Move in and out on a ratchet, bicep swivel, ratcheted elbows, no wrist articulation, but the legs can move forward and back on a soft ratchet. Move in and out on a ratchet. Bend at the knee on a ratchet. Knee swivel. And that's it. And if you have the wings out all the way to the back here, that will, yeah, that will get him to fall over a lot. So it's best if you just leave them out so you don't have that issue. And that is it. Oh, I almost forgot. I almost forgot to say something before we move on to the final thoughts. If you're going to have him into some action poses, you also have to be mindful of how you're positioning this figure if you're getting him into action poses, because of the kibble he has on him. Because if not, he's gonna fall over a lot. Just want to let y'all know. But now, let's get to our final thoughts here.